Hello and welcome to Fifth and Grace. Last week I read about Mark Harney, and today I'm going to read about Pierre Poilievre, or for some of us, Poilievre. And we'll see where he's at. We'll see what the energy is around him. We're going to pull a few cards and just see, how's Pierre? How's Pierre doing? My candle burned out. I'll get a new one in for the next reading. I'll get a new one. If you haven't had a peek at my December energy reading, it is up and ready to go. And you can see what is coming up for everybody. It was actually a really nice reading. I was very happy with how that one came out. Nothing too crazy coming up. No nonsense waiting around the corner. All right, so let's see where he's at. Okay, he's got a lot of decisions to make, which, no kidding. He's got to really think about who he's aligned himself with. We're seeing those changes already because we know that Jenny Byrne is out, and we have a new campaign manager, which is very exciting. So we'll see what he does, see what messaging he wants out there for the world. But he certainly has a lot of decisions to make. The convention is coming up in 2 months. And there's a ton of policies that are going to be voted on. The leadership race, or the leadership review, is taking place. So everybody all the MPs who want to keep Pierre as the leader, they have chosen their delegates to come with them to Calgary at the end of January to vote for Pierre. I don't know. I know my riding, they're like, yeah, we're only sending Pierre people out there. My son was chosen to go. I was chosen to go. So I will be in Calgary at the end of January. And so, yeah, if you live in Calgary, let me know. Because maybe we could do a little meetup while I'm there. I do have some spare time. I do have a little bit of free time while I'm there. So maybe we can do a meetup somewhere. I'll be staying, well, I'll be in the vicinity of the BMO Center. Is it the Saddle Dome? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, the BMO Center. I know nothing. I don't know anything about Calgary. I just know that I hope it's not cold. I hope it's not crazy cold. But there we go. So there's a lot of decisions being made around Pierre right now. He has to make decisions, plus his team is making decisions. His handlers, everybody around him is making decisions. And if you don't think that every single tiny thing is analyzed and decided on, think again. Even down to his hair. Remember when everybody was like, oh, he's the paper boy, Skippy? And the next thing you knew, you started to see a little bit of silver at his temples. Yeah, that was strategic. The suits he wears, everything is a decision. Everything is analyzed. His shoes, like I said, his hair, every single little thing. I bet that getting laser eye surgery was a political decision. I'm gonna bet that was strategic as well. So there's a lot of decisions being made around him about the future of the party, about the future of his place in the party, and the future of the country. So there, I think that's good. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, what's sort of crossing him is, well, obviously, so, okay, we'll start with basics. Our fours are about stability versus stagnancy. And when we're too stagnant, we become toxic. But also, the pentacles is obviously money, tangible things. The country, is a physical being. I think really what's coming in is the country is so financially unstable. It's almost like a tsunami. It can't be stopped. It's really going to take a lot to stop it because the country's not stable. It's stagnant in some ways, and it's, we've had 10 years of liberal government. We're due a change, shake things up a little bit, change the energy of everything, really. But really what's standing in the way is just the tsunami that is taking place right now. That, how do you hold back a 60-foot wave? you know? So I think we just need to ride the wave, I guess, and just kind of hang on tight and hope for the best. But really, it's just the money leaving the country, the jobs leaving the country, the opportunities leaving the country. It's going to be really, really hard to repair that. It's going to be really hard to recover from that. And you know, if Pierre's going to do it, I think he's going to need a good 10 years to turn things back around to where we were, you know, under the Stephen Harper days. So we're, you know, and think about it. Under Stephen Harper, nobody thought about politics, and that's how politics should be. Your politicians should be not even existent in your mind. And we know a country is in trouble when people can start naming the politicians and where they live and what they do and things like that. So that's kind of where we're at. Let's see, what is the root of the problem? A lot of people in the country are just way too emotional. People are making decisions from a place of fear, which is this like lowest vibrational emotion that we can have, which is why like Canada is really dark right now, really, really dark, because everybody, you know, all the cult liberal voters, they voted from fear because Mark Carney told them to be afraid. They didn't, you know what I mean? There was really nothing to be afraid of, but he told them to be afraid, and then he just keeps digging the grave deeper and deeper every day. So, but definitely it is too much in the way of emotions. People are not, like I've had women tell me how hot they think Mark Carney is, and that's why they voted for him. Okay, we need to start voting from a place of practicality, from policy. Do you know what I mean? Like I've said to people, so you'd be content to live in a cardboard box by the river in the homeless encampment just so you can say you voted liberal. And they'll say, yep, totally good. Like they'll burn the country to the ground just because they're afraid of Donald Trump. Isn't that the craziest thing? I just can't. I just sit here and think, like, how did we get here? How did we get here? So this is what the root of all the problems are. And this is what Pierre has to overcome. He has to get people out of their emotions and thinking about actual policies. And we don't need to know what every single policy is, but how about, you know, a policy, the big policies that the Conservative Party have on deck are, you know, immigration, like getting a handle on that, and remigration, like getting people sent home. You know, there's a lot of people who came to this country as TFWs. I don't think they knew what they were walking into. I think they're probably pretty miserable, and I think they would be pretty grateful to get a drive to the airport and a plane ticket home. So that's what we're kind of dealing with, is a lot of emotions. We have the emotions of all the people who think the addicts just need more drugs. We have all the emotions of people who think the TFWs are our new Canadians, yet the rest of us are settlers. Do you know what I mean? Like this is the emotional depth we're dealing with here. So I think he does a great job of staying steady, of never straying from the message. The only time we ever see big emotions from him is when he's hearing a really tragic story or something's really funny. You know, he's a pretty solid, steady guy. I've met him a few times, and he's actually in person really warm. He's warm, he's friendly, he's funny, he's a little goofy. You know, there's nothing about him that you wouldn't like if you worked with him. Like, say he was a guy in your office or he was your neighbor, you'd probably really like him. So yeah, I would suggest, you know, maybe just instead of listening to your friends say, oh, I heard XYZ, just actually listen to Pierre. Maybe just listen to Pierre talk about his plans for the country, employment, addiction, immigration, taxes. All those things are the big conservative policies right now. And maybe a better life. You know, if we don't have to pay so much in taxes, if we just get rid of some taxes, everybody's going to have a better life, right? So that's what he's trying to do. Let me see here. The Queen of Swords. So this would fall under like what is leaving his life. This would be Jenny Byrne. She's out. She's leaving. I know she's still somewhat connected to the party and the campaigning of the party, but she's out. The brain behind the last 3, 4 failed conservative campaigns. Nobody should be failing that much and still keep their job. She should have lost her job about 10 years ago. So, not saying that she's a bad person or anything like that, but she just wasn't like, if your one and only job is to get someone elected and they're not getting elected, it's time to go. It's time to go do something else. I'm sure she's very intelligent. She could do great things in the conservative world, but running the campaign it's not working. It's not working. So she's out and we have a new guy in. So what he wants the experience. He wants to feel the experience of achievement. He wants to feel that he wants a great experience for all of us, for the country, but he wants us to feel good about being Canadian. I don't think that's such a horrible thing. I don't feel great about being Canadian. Kind of embarrassed. I'm kind of sad about it. A little depressed. Although I was at a cocktail party with Melissa Lantzman about 12 days ago, and she gave a speech that actually made me feel a bit hopeful. So yeah, I think we need to just keep on with that energy. But he wants Canadians to experience a great Canadian life and feel good about it all. And he wants the experience of being prime minister, of leading the country, of making this happen for people. What a tremendous achievement that would be, to turn the country around and to set us off on a whole different trajectory. So yeah, I'm going to look up at the timing of that one too. I just feel like sometimes I just kind of get called. So this is a November date. I wonder if that means he'll be prime minister come next November. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. But definitely, he wants people to have opportunities and choices and be able to dream about a beautiful life here. And, I think everything he's doing is from the perspective of he's Canadian. He knows what it's like to live here in Canada and experience what we have over the last 10, 15 years. And he wants better for people. And he wants them to experience a better life. As he always says, what's it? On a safe street under a proud flag. So there we go. There we go. What's coming up? So the near future, obviously we've got the convention coming up in a couple months, and the star, this is main character energy. So yeah, what's coming up in the near future, I believe he will be elected to remain the leader of the party. I don't really have any doubts, even just from an intellectual, educated point of view. Yeah, but this is really solidifying that he's the star of the show. He is the main character. And this is a long-term thing. So the decision that we make in Calgary at the end of January, it will be a long-term decision, which makes, take us back to, he's going to need 10 years as prime minister to really turn things around. And what I want is for him to sort of feel like he's leaving a new country. Do you know what I mean? Have us forget what it's been like, because it's so good 10 years from now. That's, I think, is what he's sort of got going on. Is that was I sort of said that in a really clumsy way. So this is being a long-term card. So if let's just say 10 years, that his goal would be that 10 years from now, we forget how bad it was that we've been experiencing the last 5 years, if that makes sense. I lived through the recession in the early 90s, and yeah, it's a little fuzzy. It's a little fuzzy for me. It wasn't, I look back and I think that wasn't the worst time. Yeah, it was pretty bad. But just sort of get us to a point where things are so good that we forget how bad it's been. if that makes sense. That would be what his desires and that his long-term goals for the country. I hope that made sense. And the underlying energy for him, our final card here, Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, this is Pierre to a T. If you listen to him, you know he wants people to have more money. And if he can make that happen, then he's going to do that. And so this is, you know, legacy. This is inheritance. This is wealth. This is having so much that you're leaving a legacy for your children, for your grandchildren, you know, that you have money to share, money to help other people. That is his goal. That's the energy that he's in right now, that he wants Canadians to be so prosperous that we can share, we can survive, we're happy, everything is wonderful. And then we kind of, because he's there for so long, we forget just how bad it's been. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to look back and be like, ooh, yeah, that was a struggle, but we got through it. So there we go. There's our reading on Pierre and what's going on with him. I know people are going to ask me to look for scandals and things like that. There are none. There are none. If you watch Moose on the Loose, you will know that he has actually said, like, you know, that people come to him and be like, oh, you're so biased, you don't even look into Pierre. And he does. And he said, I have tried to find dirt. I have tried to find scandal on this man, and I can't find it. If there's any scandal, it's just something stupid somebody made up as an issue that for most people would not be an issue. Like, people are like, oh, well, his wife owns a rental property. Okay, well, so do many people, right? Well, she's not allowed to make a living. She's not allowed to provide housing. Do you see what I'm saying? So these are the kinds of, the Moose on the Loose has tried, and he has dug and dug and dug to find dirt on Pierre. He's not finding it. And so I trust him and I believe him because of, he's so intelligent and he's such an incredible researcher that if he found something, we'd know about it. So I think we can all feel pretty confident here in this. We'll see what happens because I am going to the convention. So I will do a full report on that, and then we'll read again after the convention. We'll read on both of them to see what's going on. I'll maybe even do an NDP reading because their convention is the end of March, all 7 of them. All 7 of the NDP. I'd love to see a bunch of liberals, disgruntled liberals, cross the floor and join the NDP and really tip the scales. Because wouldn't it be neat if the NDP ended up with party status again in all of this, and they actually get a say? They actually get their time in the House and on committee and things like that. That'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to click like, click subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and as ever, have a magical day.